a market littered with the ghosts of asymmetrical horror games, a new challenger has entered the ring. Carnival Hunt pits a terrifying carnival monster against a team of frantic, wind-up bunnies in a deadly game of hide-and-seek. So does it have what it takes to survive, or is it destined to become another one-sided beatdown? This game might be the next big thing in horror, or it could be a bully simulator that's dead on arrival. Today, we're going to dissect this twisted circus, analyze its chances, and decide if Carnival Hunt has what it takes to thrive in a brutal, unforgiving market. Let's be honest, the asymmetrical horror genre is a tough neighborhood. Other than the Titan Dead by Daylight, there's a long list of games that tried and failed to keep an audience. It's a space where a unique concept isn't enough. You need tight balancing, a dedicated community, and a rock-solid plan for the future. Now, developers Beer Night Studio and publisher Critivo are stepping up with Carnival Hunt, a game that trades the typical slasher movie vibe for a twisted, Victorian-esque circus. It's important to remember that this game is still very early in its life and is in an alpha state, so many changes are likely to come. Anything I say in this video could change tomorrow, so don't judge it too quickly. Instead of masked killers and terrified teens, we have the lanky, horrifying carnival monster hunting down bunnies. Yeah, wind-up bunnies. Don't let the fluffy tails fool you. This is a high-stakes game of survival, but recent changes have made me question which side is really trying to survive here. Hey, Editing Kovo here. Going back through the video, I worry that the parts discussing Magician can seem pretty doom and gloom, so I want to make my TLDR opinions pretty clear here before we proceed. Carnival Hunt is a very fun game, with a lot of great concepts. I don't even touch on the crafting and upgrade system in this video, as it would probably take a video of its own just to do it justice. Playing as the Magician is fun, just frustrating at times, and playing as the Bunny is extremely fun. That being said, I would love to see this game succeed, so I think this constructive criticism is necessary. I really don't want to see another Asym fall to the challenges inherent of the genre. But that's it for me, Editing Kovo out. Before we pull back the curtain, I want to give a massive thank you to my incredible channel members. Your support means the world, and it goes directly to a cause that I really care about. 100% of all income from channel memberships is donated to the local animal shelters I work with, helping animals in need. A huge shout out to my Tier 2 members, Kelnak, In Cairo, Winson, Fox Rocks, and Z is D. And to my Tier 1 members, Polo, Jay Reynolds, and Peter RJ. I also want to give a special welcome to our newest Tier 1 member, Evil Cherub. Your generosity makes a real difference, and I can't thank you enough. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on inside this twisted carnival of horrors. First, let's talk about the survivor experience. As a bunny, your goal is simple: escape the circus by ascending through 4 levels of the map. This verticality is a fantastic concept, forcing you to complete objectives like firing cannons or starting roller coasters to progress upwards. However, the experience of playing as Bunny completely depends on your team. If your fellow bunnies don't work together, you fall pretty fast. But if you have just a few competent players, or you are one of them, the match flips on its head. A coordinated team can rush objectives with pretty incredible speed, dropping down ropes for less skilled players to climb up to the top. Bunny gameplay can be very fun. With 5 bunnies in a match, several can focus on objectives while 1 or 2 others lead the hunter on a wild goose chase across the map, stunning him with items or running him around spaces of the map that are small enough for the bunnies to fit through. Think of looping from Dead by Daylight. It's basically looping, but with fireworks and tight gaps instead of pallets and vaults. The core gameplay for the bunnies revolves around completing major objectives to unlock a path to the next level. For instance, on the first floor, you might decide to power a roller coaster, which then carries up to 2 teammates to the level above. On another floor, you might decide to launch another bunny up with a cannon. Arguably, the most common way to ascend, however, is to find gears and open doors. These objectives force interaction and draw the attention of the hunter, creating hotspots of activity and tension around the map. To survive these encounters, bunnies must scavenge the circus grounds for useful items. These aren't just for show. You can use fireworks to temporarily stun the hunter, giving you a chance to escape a chase or free a captured teammate. Or you can use the other tools to help with traversal and objective progression. Items are a major source of power for the bunnies, and are frequently used. Bunnies also have the ability to play dead, letting them hide from the hunter and his shush ability, but more on that later. The hiding can be pretty powerful if you use it properly. The most powerful tool in a bunny's kit, however, seems to be the number of infinites and loops the bunnies can use to evade the hunter. By utilizing short holes in the map that the hunter can't get through, bunnies can pretty easily drag out chases or sit in invulnerability spots like the roller coaster on floor 1. Ultimately, escaping is a multi-stage journey. By completing the objectives on each of the first 3 levels, the bunnies unlock access to the 4th and final floor. It's here that the final escape route opens up, requiring one last coordinated push to break free from the carnival for good. The bunnies are required to open the final exit doors and escape. This tiered progression makes every match feel like a miniature campaign with a clear, escalating goal from start to finish. Now for the other side of the coin, playing as the carnival monster, or hunter. In theory, you're the ringmaster of this macabre circus, a master of strategy and aggression. In practice, many players feel this role is pretty slow and frustrating, if not underpowered. Your job is to stop the team of 5 bunnies, and your tools feel increasingly inadequate for the task. Your movement is pretty slow, and while you have abilities like temporary invisibility and a long-range grab, they do little to counter a coordinated group. A new shush ability was added to try and compensate for the 5th bunny being added recently, allowing the magician to stop and listen, revealing the auras of bunnies who don't quickly play dead. However, it's pretty easily countered, and the magician is so slow it's difficult to capitalize on any information you gain before the bunnies are gone. This has led many to feel that the game is becoming another quote-unquote bully simulator, where the hunter is endlessly looped around infinites, like I discussed earlier, areas where you can't catch a bunny no matter what, while their teammates complete the escape. It increasingly feels like the game was designed primarily from the bunny's point of view, which might explain why so few people want to play as the hunter. The magician's gameplay loop revolves around patrolling the circus and trying to intercept bunnies before they can complete their objectives and ascend to the next floor. To do this, he has to rely on his unique powers to ambush, track, and capture the bunnies. The core strategy is to apply pressure across the map, slowing down objective progression and securing kills before the bunnies can overwhelm him. To that end, the magician's toolkit offers a few magical tricks. You can use temporary invisibility to set up ambushes or a long-range grab to snatch a bunny from a distance. Notably, the long-range grab, or hat trick as it's called, is pretty difficult to land, and the hitbox seems really small. To counter the survivor's stealth, his shush ability reveals the aura of any nearby bunny that doesn't quickly play dead. In theory, these powers should allow him to control the pace of the match and strike fear into the hearts of his fluffy opponents. In reality, however, at least in my opinion, the magician struggles to counter a coordinated team. Like I said before, his slow movement makes it hard to capitalize on the information from his shush ability, as bunnies can simply relocate before he arrives. His attempts to chase are often cut short by bunnies using small gaps in the map he can't traverse, or by running him through infinite loops, as we discussed. Even when he does manage to capture a bunny, the sheer number of survivors means a rescue attempt is frequently guaranteed, and often with little risk to the would-be heroes. Unlike Dead by Daylight, you can't face a wall to avoid a firework as the hunter. If they have a teammate nearby with a firework, you can't really do much. The salt in the wound with that point is that if a bunny gets rescued, you can't chase them for the regrab. This game has a pretty clever anti-tunneling mechanic in the form of panic. If a bunny was recently damaged, they can instantly escape your grasp. I really do like this mechanic, as it's a pretty clean way to ensure the hunter spreads pressure without over-penalizing them. However, if a bunny is not damaged and freed from your grasp by a teammate, they still get this panic mode and can escape you yet again. This feels like a bit of an oversight, so we'll see what happens with it. So what does Carnival Hunt get right? First and foremost, the atmosphere is phenomenal. The creepy carnival energy is awesome, and the Victorian-inspired circus setting is a breath of fresh air after so many years of slop. It's unique and allows for some incredibly creative map design. The game also has a slower, more deliberate pace, which can lead to incredibly tense moments of hide and seek. And on that note, let's talk about something many asymmetrical games get wrong: the tutorial. Carnival Hunt features dedicated, comprehensive tutorial guides for both the bunny and the magician roles. For a game still in alpha, having clear instructions on how to use items, complete objectives, and master each character's abilities is a massive advantage. It lowers the barrier to entry and shows a commitment to the new player experience that is often an afterthought in this genre. The core ideas are strong. The vertical escape is a brilliant departure from flat maps, and the concept of a stealthy, magical killer is pretty compelling. The problem is that many of these good ideas are struggling under the weight of the game's current balancing. A quick disclaimer, I'm not a pro Carnival Hunt player. I haven't topped the player boards, and I don't live and breathe in the carnival. But I'm still an avid enjoyer of Asym games, and I can recognize game patterns pretty well. someone who almost always gravitates towards the solo killer role in these types of games, I was surprised to find myself having way more fun as the bunny, and that's a red flag. The power you feel as a bunny is exhilarating, but it also gives me a worrying sense of deja vu, reminding me of other asymmetrical titles that fizzled out because the survivor side was just too strong too early. When even a killer main prefers playing survivor, you know there's a potential problem. Now don't get me wrong, no game is perfect, but the cracks in Carnival Hunt are starting to look pretty scary. My biggest concern is the one that plagues every single game in this genre: balancing. The very mechanics that make a game unique also present the biggest challenges. It's extremely difficult to properly balance an asymmetrical game. Adding a fifth bunny to the match seems to have been a band-aid patch to help with long queue times, as many players seem to not want to play as the hunter, but it's thrown the balance completely out of whack. This leads to the hunter experience feeling pretty awful, with infinites ruining chases, anti-tunneling mechanics being abused, and it being far too easy to stack items and rescue teammates. The hunter often feels helpless. No example of this rang more clear to me than when an experienced player was insulting me in voice comms while running through the roller coaster infinite and stunning me with fireworks. Oh, you can hear the bunny's voice comms when close to the bunnies, by the way. Also, the bunnies have voice comms. The role simply doesn't seem to have the proper tools to account for a fifth bunny. Like I said, this is likely why not many people want to play as the hunter, which in turn creates the long queue times the fifth bunny was meant to solve. It's a pretty vicious cycle. And finally, there's the question of longevity. The core loop is interesting, but will it get repetitive? According to Steam, the game is planned for a 2026 release, giving the developers plenty of time to work. But for the game to survive long term, it'll need a steady stream of new content and a much more balanced experience to build player trust. All that being said though, I have pretty good hopes for Carnival Hunt. I just hope they can see through the balancing troubles. This brings us to the final critical question: will Carnival Hunt survive? The asymmetrical horror market is a graveyard. We've seen countless games with great ideas burn bright and then flame out for predictable reasons. Game-breaking balance issues, a lack of content, or the failure to build a dedicated community. So what are Carnival Hunt's chances? Honestly, it feels a little shaky, but I'm still going to keep my ear on the pulse and see where it goes. While the developers are actively engaging with the community, which is a really good sign, the core experience currently feels heavily skewed. The game feels designed from the bunny's point of view, making that role fun and dynamic while leaving the hunter role to feel a bit like a chore. Don't get me wrong, the hunter role can be fun, and when it is, it really is. But those moments were few and farther between the more I tried to play. The game's success will ultimately hinge on one thing: can the developers properly balance the 1 versus 5 dynamic and give the hunter the tools they need to feel powerful and fun to play? I'm not going to claim to have the answers. I wouldn't want the job of properly balancing an Asym, but I'm really hoping they can pull it off. My final call? Carnival Hunt has a fantastic concept, but it's in a precarious state. It avoids being a simple clone by bringing fresh ideas to the table, but the execution feels a bit unbalanced. In this current state, it feels too much like a bully simulator for the hunter. If the developers can't fix this fundamental issue and make both sides of the horror equation compelling, I'm afraid the circus will be leaving town for good. Carnival Hunt stands out with its unique Victorian circus theme and its innovative vertical map design, but it's currently hobbled by some pretty bad balancing issues in my opinion. The gameplay loop, while fun for the 5-bunny team, has left the lone magician feeling slow, weak, and frustrated. The entire experience feels lopsided, favoring the bunnies to a degree that could be fatal for the game's long-term health. Like I said though, this game is in an alpha state, so don't judge it too quickly. There's still plenty of opportunities for the developers to iron things out and explore their vision for the game. But what do you all think? Is the hunter role as bad as it seems? Or is there a high skill ceiling we're not seeing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep dives into the asymmetrical horror scene, be sure to subscribe for more. Also, if I got anything wrong in this video, please let me know. I'm expecting a few defensive bunny players, as that's pretty common with Asym games, but I'd really love to know your opinions, good or bad. As always, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the carnival.